required.
Thank you guys for having me. I actually asked the TEDxKEA organization if I could come on stage to the sound of the Champions League anthem. I thought that would have been really, really cool. Apparently there's some kind of a rights issues with that. So instead, I'm just going to talk about moments instead. To me, this was an extremely powerful moment. This is the 1999 Champions League final between Manchester United and Bayern Munich. Some of you guys might remember it. So Manchester were trailing for most all of the game and ended up scoring 2 goals in overtime against all odds to win. It was an amazing spectacle. I was sitting at home in my parents' living room with all my Manchester United shirts and scarves lined up. I had 3 jerseys that year, by the way. And I was completely immersed in this game, catching on to every single detail of it. Glued to the screen, if you will. My mom came by. She asked me if I could please move just a bit further away or suffer my eyes turning square. So naturally I did. And when United finally scored, and believe me, it felt like that would never happen, I ran around the house yelling and celebrating. It was glorious. And today, 15 years later, I stand before you and talk about that game, about those moments. You see, sports can always evoke emotions in us. In sports, some of the greatest stories are told. Heroes and villains are born, champions are crowned, and dreams are brutally crushed. As fans, we get to live through this emotional roller coaster of the ups and downs that come with following our team. Sports moves us. Now, sports fans, they come in a million different sizes and shapes and are drawn to the match for a million different reasons. Some of them come for the athletes, some for the atmosphere, some for the culture, some for fantasy sports, and some are drawn to the game simply because of the amazing haircuts. But regardless of why we're tuning into sports, sports fans today are united by a common thread. We're increasingly becoming numb to those magical moments that take place in the world of live sports. So today, I'm going to be addressing the conflict between the way we arrange our lives around digital media and a core desire that we have as human beings to be moved. And I'll illustrate this trend by looking out through the eyes of a sports fan. The sports fan today is connected with his favorite teams and players at all times on multiple platforms and sites. You've seen this: Facebook, LiveScore, Twitter, Vines, Instagram, blog, and so on. Google has referred to this trend as constant connectivity, and we do appear to be more connected to the game than ever before. But are we really? You see, we're flooded with second screen alternatives that not only compete with the primary experience of watching a game, but also make immersion nearly impossible for us. Was that a penalty kick? I have absolutely no idea. But in just a few minutes, I can have that information in a Vine through my Twitter feed. Think about that for a second. You don't even have to be present in that moment, those vital seconds when history was written, when the game was decided, because you can get that information in just a few minutes. But is that experience as meaningful, as powerful? In order for us to try to answer that question, we have to decipher what's fundamental about our relationship with sports as an entertainment category and what's actually changing. So, previous generations were intuitively linear. They had a linear approach to stories. They wanted to experience a beginning, a middle, and an end in that particular order, much like watching a game on this timeline. Now, the generations of today, these digital natives, they still want a beginning, a middle, and an end, but they'll accept these in any order, in any quality, and from any source. See, what's important to them is speed of delivery and availability across platforms. They consume in this continuous flow of micro moments, highlighting the parts of the story that they find interesting. And additionally, they've started contributing more than ever, right? They're sharing pictures, videos. They're sharing texts, highlighting the parts of the story that they find most relevant. Some may be more relevant to what actually happens on the pitch than others. But that doesn't matter. Because in this community, as a collective unity, we decide what's a valuable contribution and what isn't. Crossing 6 million views. Right, so what's the essence? Listen, the way in which we consume sports will continue to change over time. Change itself is not the issue. We've seen this before. We've seen sports as entertainment go from venue or stadium only, then to radio, onwards to TV, and now online. And every single time we had a crossroad, a platform change, a consumer trend taking us in a new direction, someone was probably complaining, just like I am today, saying sports is ruined. The good old days were better. Things will never be the same again. But you see, what has remained fundamental throughout the changes we've seen so far is the emotion and the passion related to the game. And these are currently being tampered with. Studies are showing us that the digital native has a weakened attention span caused by the overstimulation of technology. We've heard this, old school data, right? But digital natives, they also now have the attention span of a goldfish, which some find quite striking, and that's actually the truth. Additionally, these natives, they switch their attention between platforms from a TV to a magazine, sounds old school, yes, tablet, computer, back to the TV, from application to application, 27 times an hour. That's just about every other minute. Let's look at that through the eyes of a sports fan, right? 47 times I switch my attention while watching a football match. 67 times during a tennis match, 108 times during a Tour de France stage, and for those that like motorsport, maybe even love, and can stay up for 24 hours, they can get 648 platform changes during the Le Mans. I'm not saying stop sharing your favorite moments on Facebook. I'm saying there is unforeseen consequences from the way in which we consume today. So for instance, I love Manchester United. I'll never be ashamed of it, not even now. I spend my entire day waiting for Manchester United to play that game that night. I call my friends, we talk about it, I watch all the videos. I just want to know if Falcao and his amazing hair is going to go onto the pitch. But by the time the game kicks off, my attention is everywhere else. I'm live tweeting the same updates that the two playing teams, the league, the Football Association, and the entire journalistic environment is tweeting out with little to no differentiation. Am I contributing? I don't know. See, when I see a sports moment happen live, a goal scored, a kick on the post, fumble in the end zone, something goes to overtime, I stand up because it triggers an emotional response. When was the last time you stood up when you read a tweet? We can't stop the train of digitalism, and we're already seeing in the kids growing up that this is a part of them. I think, though, that the time has come for us to ask ourselves if this is the direction we want to go in. Do we really see ourselves as a replay first generation, or do we want to do something to change this? As a community, I would believe we're passionate about sports. And I think that this passion can lead us to go in a new direction, to try to contradict these trends or at least bring it up for discussion. As a community, I believe we still have this opportunity and the capability. See, while we might change our way of consuming sports, I believe the desire to be moved remains. So let's bring this up for discussion, for the greater good of us all, for the love of the game. Thank you, guys.